We all think we know the story of Pandora's box, right? It's that classic myth about why you shouldn't be too curious. But what if we've been getting it all wrong? I mean, completely wrong. What if the story isn't about a simple mistake, but about a deliberate act with totally irreversible consequences? Today, we're going to look at this ancient myth through a new lens, one that turns it into a really powerful lesson for the world we live in right now.
So let's just jump right in with this idea. What if the box wasn't just a container full of spooky evils? What if it was a bomb? The second you start thinking about it that way, the entire story shifts. Suddenly, the focus isn't on Pandora's curiosity anymore, is it? It's on whoever handed her a weapon and told her not to use it. This one little change completely flips the script, so let's break down exactly how.
Okay, to really get how radical this whole bomb idea is, we first have to take a quick look at the story we all grew up with, the classic, straightforward myth of Pandora's curiosity. So the traditional story is pretty simple. Pandora gets a box, she's told don't open it, but, curiosity gets the better of her, she cracks it open, and boom, all the misery in the world flies out. The blame is put squarely on her shoulders. She's basically patient zero for every problem, all because she just couldn't resist the temptation. And for centuries, that's been the lesson, right? Don't be disobedient, don't ask too many questions. It's a pretty simple morality tale. But the moment you start thinking of that box as a bomb, the story just explodes into something way more complex and, frankly, a lot more challenging for us. So let's unpack this bombshell idea. Suddenly, this isn't a story about one person's little mistake anymore. It's about really, truly understanding the consequences of our actions. And that's what makes this ancient myth feel so incredibly modern. And here it is, the heart of the change. The old lesson basically makes curiosity the villain, but this new lesson is so much more mature. It's not about avoiding curiosity. It's about having the wisdom to recognize when an action is final. The real problem isn't opening the box. It's failing to grasp that some doors, once you open them, can never, ever be closed again. Okay, so this brings us to the main point, right? If the lesson isn't just, hey, don't open the box, then what are we actually supposed to take away from Pandora's story now? The lesson is this, and it's kind of brutal. Once the fuse is lit, you have to trust that the bomb is going to go off. The focus just completely shifts away from regret or trying to prevent what's already in motion. It's now about one thing, and one thing only: getting ready for the inevitable fallout. So let's break down the mechanics of this bomb a little bit. How does this model of irreversible action actually work? And what does it really mean for us? You can see it as a chain reaction. It all starts with that one decision. That's the real point of no return. That's the fuse being lit. From that exact moment, inevitability takes over. Cause and effect are locked in. Pandora slamming the lid shut is the perfect picture of pointless regret. She's trying to unring a bell, to stuff all the evils back in the box, but it's just too late. So the real wisdom here isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning to recognize these thresholds before you cross them. Because once you're on the other side, all of your energy has to switch from trying to change the past to dealing with the future that you just created. Now this brings us to what might be the most profound part of this whole reinterpretation. What about hope? I mean, if the explosion is inevitable, what's the point of the one thing that gets left behind inside the box? You see, in the classic myth, hope is the silver lining, the consolation prize. But in the bomb analogy, its role becomes way more ambiguous. Is hope the tool that helps us survive the blast, or is it actually a dangerous distraction that keeps us from taking cover in the first place? This really lays out the two faces of hope. Is it just illusion? That blind faith that maybe the bomb is a dud, maybe it won't go off, which stops us from preparing for the impact? Or is it resilience, that gritty determination to sift through the rubble and start rebuilding? In this version, hope isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's an active choice you have to make about how you're going to respond to the aftermath. So, let's bring all this back to our world. Why does this reinterpretation of an ancient myth even matter right now? Well, because whether we want to admit it or not, we are setting these kinds of irreversible bombs all the time. And these examples are everywhere you look. Think about the climate crisis, where we're hitting tipping points that, once we cross them, we can't uncross. Or think about geopolitics, or even our personal relationships, that one word you say that you can never take back. Or what about technology and AI? We are unleashing tools with consequences we can't even predict. In every single case, an action was taken, and the consequences, they're not reversible. The only question left is how we're going to manage the fallout.
So this is the new lesson of Pandora's box. It completely transforms the myth from a simple kid's story about disobedience into a profound call for adult responsibility. It demands foresight, it demands wisdom, and ultimately it demands accountability. And this is the unflinching truth at the very heart of the Pandora's bomb idea. It's telling us to stop wasting our energy on denial and regret, and instead to find the courage to turn around and face the world that we ourselves have created.
So we want to leave you with this final, challenging thought. This myth, it's not just some old story. It's a lens for our present and for our future. And it forces us to ask a really tough question. What bombs have we already set in motion, and are we truly ready to face the fallout?